Before outlining the details of today as we know them, I do want to express my deepest condolences to all of the victims and their families in this series of tragic events. I do need to note that this investigation is in its early stages. All of the information that I'm providing today is preliminary and subject to change. The information as we know it right now may change as this investigation is in progress. However, I will review a timeline as we know them now. The Austin Police Department is investigating a series of violent incidents that began this morning and extended into the evening. Based on information obtained over the course of these investigations, we strongly believe one suspect is responsible for all of the incidents. The suspect is in custody and no longer poses a threat to our Austin community. I want to emphasize that APD and other law enforcement did not determine that these incidents were connected until the last incident occurred tonight after the male suspect was taken into custody. We are working with other law enforcement agencies, including the Bexar County Sheriff's Office, as the incident that occurred in their jurisdiction may also be related. The first incident in Austin occurred at approximately 10:43 a.m. in the 7200 block of Berkman Drive, where an Austin Independent School District police officer was shot and injured. AISD officials provided a briefing about that incident. The second incident occurred at approximately 11:59 a.m. Austin 911 Communications received multiple calls for help at 7300 Shady Wood Drive, where a double homicide occurred involving a male and female victim. Austin Police Department PIO provided a briefing about that incident. The third incident occurred at approximately 4:57 p.m. when Austin 911 received a call at 5701 West Slaughter Lane, where a male cyclist described he was shot and sustained non-life-threatening injuries. The fourth incident occurred at approximately 6:48 p.m. 911 received a call of a burglary of a residence in progress in the 5300 block of Austria Loop. The call was described as being in progress, and officers were dispatched at approximately 6:50 p.m. to a call titled Burglary Hotshot. At approximately 6:54 p.m., the initial responding officer, who was wearing an Austin Police Department uniform, arrived at the location and encountered a male suspect in the backyard of the residence. The male suspect immediately opened fire at the officer. The officer returned fire with his department-issued firearm in the direction of the male suspect. The officer suffered multiple gunshot wounds and moved to a position of cover. It was later determined that the suspect was not struck by gunfire during this incident. At approximately 6:55 p.m., an officer communicated over the police radio that shots were fired and an officer needed assistance. At approximately 6:56 p.m., it was stated over a radio that an Austin police officer had been shot. At approximately 6:58 p.m., Austin Travis County EMS and the Austin Fire Department were called to the scene to provide medical assistance. At approximately that same time, the officers that had called for EMS stated the suspect had fled the scene in a vehicle. At approximately 7:04 p.m., the officer was transported to a local hospital with non-life-threatening injury where he remains in stable condition. At approximately 7:14 p.m., After his pursuit with officers, the male suspect crashed the vehicle he was operating at the intersection of South Highway 45 and FM 1826 and was taken into custody. The male suspect was in possession of a firearm. While the pursuit was in progress, additional officers who had responded to the residence on Austral Loop entered the residence to check the welfare of anyone inside. 2 apparent victims of the suspect were located inside the residence with fatal injuries and were pronounced deceased on scene. The male suspect who was taken into custody was transported to the Travis County Jail and is charged with capital murder. He was also booked in for an outstanding assault with injury family violence warrant. Further charges are pending. This officer-involved shooting was captured on the officer's body-worn camera, and per APD policy, his body-worn camera video and those related to this incident will be released within 10 business days. 1 APD officer discharged his department-approved firearm. That officer who discharged his firearm has 12 years of service with the Austin Police Department. Per APD protocol, the officer will be placed on administrative duty. APD will conduct 2 concurrent investigations into the officer-involved shooting, a criminal investigation conducted by the Austin Police Department Special Investigations Unit in conjunction with the Travis County District Attorney's Office, and an administrative investigation conducted by the Austin Police Department Internal Affairs Unit with oversight from the Office of Police Oversight. The nature of the relationship, if any, between the victims and the suspect is unknown. As we learn more details, we will provide them to you. Anyone with information is encouraged to call APD Special Investigations Unit at 512-974-6840 or Capital Area Crime Stoppers at 512-472-8477. For the Capital Area Crime Stoppers submission, you may submit a tip online at austincrimestoppers.org, and you may remain anonymous. Again, I'd like to express my deepest condolences to all of the victims and their families who have been affected by these series of tragic events and horrific criminal acts. Thank you.